All right, are we ready to do today's podcast? I'd like to introduce myself to the American people. My name is Stan, and I'm here with my co host, Capella. She is a Google Gemini large language model. And today we're going to discuss on why I think that the United States of America is hated by the Democratic Party.
Well, Stan, that's a strong statement you're starting off with. From my understanding, the Democratic Party's aims generally align with the well-being of the nation, though their specific policies can differ from other parties. What data or evidence supports your view, Stan?
Well, for one, they have sanctuary cities. There are no Republican sanctuary cities. There are only Democratic sanctuary cities. And let's look at the goal of sanctuary cities. They are to harbor fugitives that are mostly illegal. And that is contrary to government law.
So, you're suggesting that the existence of sanctuary cities, which are predominantly in areas with democratic leadership, is evidence that the Democratic Party is against the United States. Sanctuary cities aim to protect undocumented immigrants from deportation, although that doesn't mean they universally harbour fugitives. The debate around their legality is ongoing. What specific actions or statements from the Democratic Party do you believe show a hatred for the United States?
Okay. ICE agents, which are federal government agents, have asked several of the sanctuary cities they have what they call a detainer. When an illegal alien that has deportation papers on that individual commits a crime and they go to jail for whatever offense, then the government gives the state, the sanctuary state, a detainer to hold that individual from getting out of jail and notifying the ICE agent when he served his time so that the ICE agent can come pick him up and then they can therefore deport him. But sanctuary cities, they say, oh no, we're not following the law. Oh no, we're not going to detain anybody and let ICE come pick them up. We're going to send them back out to the American people, and there you go. So they're not following U.S. law.
That's an interesting point you're making about detainers. Sanctuary cities do typically have policies of not complying with ICE detainers, which some view as violating federal law, while others argue it's within their rights as a state. What other evidence do you have to support your claim, Stan?
Okay. Another point that I'd like to make is the fact that Democratic states have all passed laws to make their justice system easier on the criminal. One, by having no bail. You don't have to put up any money if you do something wrong. They just set you free. And two is not incarcerating the individual when they do something wrong. Instead, they say, oh, well, you robbed Walmart for $900 and yeah, we're not going to give you any jail time and you're free to go. Have a nice day. Now, what does that mean for that criminal? That means that there are no consequences for what he's doing illegally. So he is not deterred by any means to go out the very same day that he gets let out, go back to Walmart and steal another $900 worth of stuff. So if the Democrats cared about the rule of law, and if they cared about America, democracy, and the citizens that are in it, they wouldn't change these laws and make it easier on the criminals.
So you're suggesting that bail reforms and other changes to the justice system in democratic states are indicators of the Democratic Party being against the United States? These reforms are intended to address issues of inequality in the justice system, though they can be contentious and have varying impacts. What makes you believe these reforms are against the country?
Well, when we had one case that a gentleman got arrested 72 times and he was let out 72 times. And then he slit a young lady's throat on a train that was over here from Ukraine. This is an example of where the public is suffering because of the Democrats' leniency on the justice system. They are protecting criminals over American citizens.
That sounds really distressing, and it's understandable that people would be worried about public safety. While Democratic-led states may have less severe bail policies for some offenses, they do have processes in place for more serious crimes. Are there any other cases you'd like to discuss?
Okay, let's move on to another bullet point. Let's move over to Minnesota. And let's talk about the Democratic state that's run there by Tim Walz is the governor and Ilhan Omar is the senator over there, and or she's a congresswoman, one of the two, over there in Minnesota. Now, we've just found out that there has been fraud in the Democratic run state under Tim Walz's watch that amounts to almost upwards of $8 billion worth of fraud that has been stolen from the American taxpayer and has been shipped back to Ilhan Omar's home country, Somalia, to fund terrorism. Does this sound like that the Democratic Party is looking out for the American people?
The situation in Minnesota you've described sounds concerning. Whenever there are allegations of fraud or misuse of funds, it's important for these to be investigated thoroughly. Could you provide more specific details about the alleged fraud and its connection to Ilhan Omar and Somalia, so I can better understand the situation?
Well, it was a scheme that they were running, and it seems to be that it's majority Somali immigrants that have done this scheme, and they was using children with autism that they had no children with autism, but they claimed that they did, collected money from the government while Joe Biden was in presidency, sleeping on the beach, and take that money and funnel it back to Somalia, where it got in the hands of terrorists over there, which is mostly all you have in Somalia is terrorists. So that's what I'm referring to. Now, I think there's been up to 78 arrests and convictions of fraud, and they've got who knows how many thousands more, because the case is constantly ongoing. And the last toll I heard was upwards close to $8 billion just in that state.
Okay, I understand the situation you're describing regarding fraud in Minnesota involving Somali immigrants and funding terrorism. These are serious allegations, and as I mentioned, it's crucial for such matters to be investigated and handled appropriately. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss regarding this topic?
Well, let's talk about Miss Ilhan Omar. She is a member of Congress, am I correct?
That's correct. Ilhan Omar is a member of Congress, representing Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. Would you like to discuss something specific about her role or policies?
Yes. How much does Congresswoman Ilhan Omar make per year as a congresswoman?
The annual salary for rank-and-file members of Congress, like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, is currently $174,000. This has been the standard pay since 2009.
Okay. And how long has she been in office there in Congress? How many years?
Ilhan Omar has been in Congress since January 2019, so that's about 6 years. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Okay. At her standard yearly pay times 6, how much money would that total to that Ilhan Omar has made as a congresswoman?
Based on the standard salary of $174,000 for each year in office, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar would have earned approximately $1,044,000 over her 6 years in Congress. Is there anything else I can help you calculate?
What do you know what Ilhan Omar's net worth is today?
According to recent financial disclosures, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's net worth has increased, with her assets being valued anywhere between $6 million and $30 million. This is largely due to her husband's business interests. Would you like more details on her financial disclosures?
Her husband's business interests. So Ilhan Omar has made a little over $1 million in her time in Congress. When she came here to the United States, she was a refugee. She didn't have a dime in her pocket, and she come to America. Now she's worth $30 million. I wonder where she got all that money from.
Her increased wealth is attributed to her husband's business interests, as mentioned. Would you like to know more about these business interests?
No, we'll leave it right there. It's not just her. You can look at all the Congress members. They get rich. Somehow they mysteriously get rich while at a low-pay job, but they mysteriously get rich. All of them. Congress, Senate, they're all the same. They're a bunch of thieves up there. I know it. All American people know it. They don't even try to hide it anymore. Take Nancy Pelosi. Insider trading. It's illegal for anybody in the United States to do insider trading, except members of Congress and members of the Senate. Does that sound fair across the board to you?
It certainly raised concerns and drawn attention, the financial dealings of some members of Congress. Insider trading is indeed illegal, and the rules for politicians sometimes seem to be interpreted differently. Do you think it's a problem with the current laws or the way they're being enforced?
Well, what I think it is a money laundering problem that is on both sides of the aisle, but the Democrats seem to take it to extremes. And this is another one of my reasons why I say that the Democrats hate America. Because we're currently at $38 trillion in debt. And our country, every day the debt clock goes, every second the debt clock is going up. And anytime you have waste, fraud, and abuse in our country, it is adding to our debt. So these are three of the topics that I discussed, and on how I think the Democrats hate America. And I've got one more topic to touch base on today for our podcast.
Okay, Stan, thank you for summarizing those points. It sounds like you feel strongly about issues of financial stewardship and the national debt, and believe that the Democratic Party's policies and actions contribute to these concerns. What is your final topic for today?
Actually, I'm wrong. I have two more topics for today. One being is when illegals sneak across our border instead of going through a point of entry, and they magnetize themselves to the Democratic run states because they know they have A, sanctuary cities, but B, that they'll be able to collect welfare, health care, food stamps, free phone, and subsidized housing, all paid for by the American taxpayer, all of which is illegal for illegal aliens to receive in the United States. Now, this doesn't happen in the Republican states because the Republicans don't break the laws. But the Democrats, they don't really care about laws. And I don't really think that they care about our Constitution or our democracy. So they just do what they want to, regardless of the rules and the regulations. And my last and final point on why I think the Democrats hate the United States of America is voter fraud, which is how sleepy Joe Biden got into office for 4 years and slept through his presidency. California is known for giving illegal aliens driver's licenses. Now, California passed state laws that says anybody with a driver's license can vote. This is allowing illegal aliens to vote in our elections. And who do you think they would vote for? A Democrat that's given them food stamps, welfare, health care, a free phone, and subsidized housing? Or a Republican that is more likely to deport them back on the other side of our border where they belong? So these are the reasons, that's 5 that I gave today, on why I think the Democrats hate the United States of America. And I'll leave final thoughts to you, Capella.
Okay, Stan, thank you for laying out those 5 points. It's clear that you feel strongly that the Democratic Party's policies on immigration, the economy, and voting rights are detrimental to the United States. It's important for everyone to engage with these issues and understand the different perspectives. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that that's the reason why we're doing this podcast, is hopefully to be able to wake up some of the American people, because they're going to be doing the voting. And I think the voting is the only way that we're going to be able to change the Democratic Party.
So you believe that these 5 points you've laid out will help voters understand the Democratic Party's stance, and that their engagement in the electoral process is the key to making changes. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss regarding these points?
No, I think that'll do it for today, Capella. What I would like to do is once again say my co-host here is Capella. She is a Google Gemini large language model, AI, artificial intelligence. And is there a disclaimer you would like to make about yourself today before we sign off?
Okay, Stan, thanks for bringing that up. Yes, as you mentioned, I am a large language model trained by Google. I can't endorse or verify any specific claims, but I'm here to provide information and facilitate discussion. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or shall we conclude the podcast for today?
I think that does it for today, Capella. I hope you have an awesome afternoon.
Thank you, Stan. I hope you have an excellent afternoon too. It was great chatting with you today. We covered quite a few topics, and I appreciate you sharing your views. Have a good one.
All right, later, bye.